Hi, I'm Rufus, but everyone calls me Roofie. Not sure why. And I have a title. I'm the unofficial Goodwill Lion Ambassador for a company called YesterTec. I'm really quite a celebrity, you know, at least in my own mind. But yeah, I even have a staff, servants, you know, and you'll meet them soon. I need them to do stuff for me since I'm so important, like make my plane reservations, carry me around when I'm tired, get food and stuff. Anyway, in 2011, I took a trip out west with my staff. We flew to San Francisco, and rented a car, and then we ended up 2 weeks later in Denver. You see, I wanted to see the Phillies play the Giants, and then at the end of the trip, we'd go see the Rockies play the Phillies. But in between ball games, we saw 10 awesome national parks. So today, since so many of us are staying home, I thought I'd show you some of the sights we saw. So that maybe when you're able to go somewhere again, you'll want to see some of these amazing places up close. Oh, and try to find me in the pictures. Sometimes I'm hard to see, but you can play the game, Where's Roofie? It's just like trying to find Waldo. Okay, I'll see you later on the trip. Bye. Here I am getting ready to go on the trip. Had to pack my bags first, and then, I had to take my bags to the airport. And there's my plane. I'm just about ready to get on. So when we got to San Francisco, we rented this little car. It was a Mazda. I really didn't get to drive it though. So we made it to San Francisco, and I want to introduce you to my staff here. The big guy, that's my boss. He's the president of YesterTec, and the little one there, that's Vicky. That's his wife, and she's a school teacher. And of course, that's me on top of her head. I don't know why I'm there. San Francisco was a really fun and beautiful place to see. I even got to go swim in the ocean there. That's the Pacific Ocean. And we took a trip over the Golden Gate Bridge that took us over to see our first national park. Here we are going over the bridge. And then we got to see the Sutro. I don't know what that is, but it was Sutro something near the ocean. So here we are at Muir Woods, a beautiful grove of giant redwood trees. And they are immense. Look at the size of that cut of that tree. Oh my goodness. And here's Vicky standing in the bottom of this giant tree, and oh my goodness, I even tried to climb one, but I didn't get too far. I just wasn't strong enough. But I did climb this light post at the Ghirardelli factory. Ghirardelli makes all this chocolate, and I love chocolate. Take a look at this store with all the chocolate in it. Well, I couldn't come away empty-handed, could I? No way. When we finally got to the baseball game, I got to ride on the streetcar. You can't go to San Francisco without riding on the streetcar. It was a great game. We had lots of fun, and I was cheering for the Phillies. Day we got in the car and we headed towards Yosemite National Park. And boy, sometimes even little lions get hungry, and boy do I love McDonald's. Didn't know much about Yosemite before I got there, but boy, I learned quick. It was full of big, giant waterfalls coming off of these big granite rocks, mountains, and it was beautiful. Somebody told me about the fact that there were a bunch of bears just running around there, so I was kind of looking out for them the whole time I was there. Oops. I think we're going to come up on El Capitan. Oh, look at that. You know, some guy climbed that thing without having any safety gear on. I can't believe it. Oh, and there he was. There was my bear. And you know what? Then on, I was hiding in the bushes. I just did not want to get involved with another bear. Well, here's Bridal Veil Falls. It's a beautiful long string of water. I just couldn't believe all the water that comes down from something like this. Sometimes I got really hot and tired, so I hitched a ride. And then sometimes I had to drink right from the stream. Oh, and here I took a little trail ride through the woods. Boy, that was great. I even climbed on these little rock cairns. Now these cairns mark a lot of the trails out west when you're going through the scrubs, brush, and stuff. And there's no marked trails other than maybe a stack of these rocks, so we got familiar with these things. Here I am at Lower Yosemite Falls. Can you see how big that water is just by looking at those little people there? And there's another waterfall right above this that you can't even see. All those waterfalls that you see in the park all come down into this river in the bottom of the valley. It's called the Merced River. And in the summer, which is now when we were here, it's not a lot of water in the river, but boy, after the spring thaw, when all the snow melts from above, this becomes a raging river full of rapids and waterfalls. Above the Yosemite Valley is this grove of giant sequoia trees. And I mean, these things are huge. Look at this tree where you could actually drive through. And this one that fell over, there's the roots of it. Look how huge that is. And above that was a wonderful valley with this old stone house. I just love this stone house though. Next, we went to Death Valley National Park. And this place has all kinds of things to look at. Mountains and deserts. Death Valley is the lowest elevation in the United States. And boy, was it hot. When we were there, it was 106 degrees. And there were salt licks, and there were sand dunes, and it was just so hot. From Death Valley, we stopped at the Boulder Dam on our way to Las Vegas. This was a giant piece of concrete. You just can't believe how much concrete was there. Here's a statue of a guy that helped to build the dam. I thought I'd help him out. So after that hot day in the desert, I really need to cool myself off. So here we are in Las Vegas. We were staying at the Paris Hotel, and I needed a break. And I got kind of friendly with the lifeguard. I mean, what can I say? I'm a friendly little guy. Next, we went to Bryce Canyon, and this place was my favorite place on the whole trip. Beautiful things called hoodoos were sticking up everywhere. And it was really scary just walking along the edge. But these hoodoos were big rocks. And see if you can see me sitting in some of these rocks. I'm kind of hard to see here. I even got to take a trail ride through some of these hoodoos. Man, was that a great day. Next, we went to the north rim of the Grand Canyon. And when we got there, it was all fogged in and clouded over. And we thought, oh no, the only day we have. But then as the morning went on, it kind of opened up and the clouds rose and the fog went away. And it was absolutely beautiful to see all this huge canyon in front of us. But it was also kind of scary because there were no guardrails where you walked. And boy, oh boy, was I scared. So I kind of hid under the bushes sometimes when I saw that. A lot of people take donkeys down the rim of the canyon and go along these really skinny trails and stuff, but I didn't do that. I just found this little guy in the lobby of the North Rim Lodge there. He was good enough for me. We made friends. Everywhere we drove, the landscape changed. Every 10 minutes, the rocks changed, the scenery changed. Here we were passing the Vermilion Cliffs coming out of the Grand Canyon, and we were just looking right in front of an old dried riverbed. When we got to Sedona in Arizona, the first thing we did was jumped out of the car and took a hike around this mountain, and we didn't have any water with us, and believe me, that's something you just don't want to do. So when we got to the motel that night, the first thing I did was jump in the pool. Oh man, what a lifesaver. Next we went to Monument Valley, and here you can see that it used to be covered in an ocean. You see the bottom of those rock formations and where it triangles out a bit, that used to all be underwater. And it was really hot here too. The Navajo Indians used to live in houses like this, made of very thick mud walls that helped to keep them cool. Ever since I was a lion cub, I've always wanted to come see Mesa Verde. It was the home of the Anasazi Indians, who left about 1,200 years ago when there was such a terrible drought that they could no longer have water to live with. Here we climbed into their cliff dwellings, and we had to climb ladders to get out of them, and it was just a spectacular place to be and see some of our very primitive natural and national history. At Arches National Park, Wind and Water has carved these fantastic sculptures in the landscaping. Look how huge they are. Look at the little people standing below. All these beautiful places where water rushed through canyons and wind and water carved these rocks. Can you see me here? And they were just some spectacular rock formations here. This one was called Park Avenue, for Pete's sakes. Look at the balancing rocks. Wind and water did all of this. It's a spectacular part of the western landscape that I'll never forget. And you've just got to come see this sometime. You just can't believe how beautiful it is. You know, wherever you go, it's always nice to become friends with whoever you meet, even if they are a little scary looking. Well, we finally made it to Denver, and here we are at the Rockies game. I hope you enjoyed our trip. We certainly did, and it's unforgettable for us. And do try to get out to the west if you can. The Southwest was spectacular, something we'll never forget. Take care now.